There are so many things that can go wrong when you're ordering a character cake or making a character cake because there's so many details of it. I mean, if anything is disproportionate, if you got the head too big or the forehead too big or the ears, the eyes, the nose too far apart from the mouth, like anything can make a character look so off. And that's why I chose Baby Yoda as this one for our 1-star versus 5-star bakery review, because I knew this one would be so challenging. Like if there was one cake that I could pick, it would be this one. And it's not just a character that's like laying down flat. This is 3-dimensional, which means all around the entire cake, all the proportions have to be completely on point. They have to make sure they get everything. And I even made it a little bit like, not gravity defying, but structure defying, because you've got his hands holding his little cup of soup. Like the hands aren't just like laying down by his side, because that is really easy. We decided to pick one that was actually holding something, so they'd have to think about how they were structuring the hands. This is the exact cake that we gave to these bakeries to try to recreate, and this one was made by Liz from the Sugar Cake Show, who is absurdly talented. That's why we picked the most challenging Baby Yoda cake that we could find. We wanted to challenge 2 bakeries at very different skill sets to see if they could recreate something that was insane. Every detail is gonna be a challenge. Even the eyes. I've never seen eyes made like this, but she makes them out of sugar and then uses her like blowtorch to make them shiny so they actually look like those plastic eyes that you find on like teddy bears and stuff. And then molded the whole face using, I think, modeling chocolate. Now, mind you, I've never made a 3D cake like this in my life because I am terrified of them. But this one, she actually puts on like little bits of modeling chocolate over and over and over to shape every element. Things that can go wrong, well, the ears, they need to be structured properly, because if they're sagging, they're gonna look like sad, droopy ears. But also they could rip at the fondant. You could see like tears and rips at the top edge of the ear if it's not structured properly. But the arms, you can see how the arms were structured outside of the body and then are wrapping around to hold the little cup. But she didn't just fill the cup with some fondant or something like that. She actually poured a liquid, I don't know what it was, maybe candy, into the cup. So it actually looks like he's holding like a little cup of his like hot soup. I didn't ask for creative freedom. I wanted this cake exactly, and they were very different price points. So the 5-star one was $530 and the 1-star one was $350. Those are pretty big price jumps. You've got like a $200 difference there between them ordering the exact same cake. That is a big box. Why is it so big?
It's a big cake.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Okay, this texture. I'm sorry, the first thing I'm seeing is definitely this texture that's on here. That's incredible. And I love that they did like a different texture on here than here. So you can see them. They just didn't like put together, and they can see all the shadowing and shading in this. See all like the dark patches and light patches. It's not just like one color. When I look at the face, there's one thing that's really standing out, and I feel like his cheeks are doing this. Like he's got his cheeks like full, you know, like chipmunks stored like nuts in their cheeks, and they just got this like,
Well, he's got frogs or toads or whatever.
yes, but like, I mean, it is really cool. The eyes are a little bit, like you can see it has like more matte. I want to say it like, the word that comes to mind is dull. I'm not trying to say that the eyes are dull themselves. It's just they don't have that like shiny finish. They don't have that same detail. It's not the candy eyes that she made. It's definitely not that kind of level of detail in here. However, they are really cool. It's just not done with like just plain fondant. They've got a lot of like coloring and shadowing and shading in the eyes themselves. They didn't just add some white dots. They've got like, the eyes look like they're glowing. Way to go on the structure of the hands though. They're not even fully like glued to the body, like everything's hugged to the body. If you look right on top, you can see the space between like the hands and the body.
I feel like the face looks a little plasticky.
The face looks a little plasticky. Like, ooh, that's very soft. I think it's fondant, but the face does look a bit plasticky. I think it's incredible. I feel like the face being a little bit droopy, that's kind of setting it off, but the outfit to me is where I'm seeing a large amount of skill here. It's like, look at the texture and the way that the fabric is waving, how it's like laying down naturally. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into that, I think. It's even on a finished cake board. It's not just on a regular cake board. They covered it in fondant and wrapped in a ribbon. They went that extra mile because it was an expensive cake. So that's the things that like I would expect, and they did come through with that. Like that's pretty close. They did pretty good. You can just see that the face is a little bit like longer on the bottom, a little bit wider in the cheeks, right? I feel like it's missing some of those shadows. I feel like there should be some shadows. It shouldn't just be one color looking too plasticky, but also I think they went too lime and not enough leaf green. Like I feel like it looks a little bit too lime for me. Like you're right. I think the color is a little bit off and it's missing its fingernails. It doesn't have fingernails like this one has. But really, I really have to look at it and be like, oh, this detail, oh, that detail. But realistically, if I was a customer and I gave them this picture, which I was, I guess I was, but like if I was just a regular person ordering this for occasion, I would be very happy with this. I think $530 is a lot of money for a cake that's not like a wedding cake. And even $530 for a wedding cake is a medium budget wedding cake. So you can get a lot of wedding cakes for like $250, $350. So over 500, like you're expecting something extraordinary. I think at that point, I would have really liked to have seen the eyes and the liquid made out of sugar. I think that to me is the big difference here, just those, and maybe some more shadowing.
Well, I'm excited to see what we got for $350.
I am too, especially considering how confuzzled the guy was on the phone when I was trying to explain what a 3D cake was. Can we bring it out now?
Yeah.
Can we get, okay, I'm gonna go and you can like, you can, okay. Oh my God. Okay, I'm so excited to see what this one looks like. I'm gonna taste both of them at the end of the video to compare them side by side. But before we get into that, I wanna thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video and making it possible for me to spend like $900 on cakes this week. As you guys know, I launched my first ever online class through Skillshare a few months ago. We created the ultimate guide to decorating cookies to help level up your cookie game. In my class, you're gonna learn everything from the basics to me breaking down advanced techniques in a way that anyone can replicate. I designed 4 different cookie themes to walk you through every kind of cookie decorating technique I could think of. We've got modern, foodie, which is my favorite, bridal, and holiday. If you're running tight on time, you're gonna love how Skillshare breaks their classes down into short lessons, getting you the information that you most need help with quickly. There are thousands of classes on Skillshare, so if you're looking to explore a new skill or learn some new techniques for an existing passion, you guys should check out Skillshare. Personally, I have been loving Amanda Rachley's art journaling for self-care. Since taking her class, I've been finding journaling so therapeutic and so great to keep on top of my goals. It's less than $10 a month for their annual plan, but the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box below will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership so you can explore your creativity and get inspired. Can we open this now?
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't the box it came in, right?
The box was kind of weird and like double boxed and saran wrapped. I feel like they didn't want me to see it at the bakery.
That's very unusual for them to not
Usually
show you the cake and be like, hey, here's the cake. Is it okay? You look like excited, but I'm not sure in a good way.
Are you looking at the monitor?
I'm trying not to laugh. It's not nice to laugh. I'm not laughing. They tried really hard. It's just the facial expression.
I mean, anything is disproportionate. If you got the head too big, or the forehead too big, or the ears, the eyes, the nose too far apart from the mouth, like anything can make a character look so off.
They got a very tired Yoda. Did they think it wasn't supposed to be Baby Yoda? Because this looks like an old haggard Yoda. He looks tired. It is 3-dimensional. I am impressed in the fact that when I first emailed them that they thought it was an edible image and they kept going off that and the fact that you picked up from a bread factory and they gave me this. That's all surprising that we actually got a 3-dimensional cake. The ears are standing up, the arms are standing up. They're delicately holding his little cup. There's nothing in the cup, he's holding his little cup. Maybe he already drank it. So there are those things. The color, I will say the color is more on point. It's better than the lime green. This is closer to Baby Yoda's color. I feel like the face, like the head is missing a little bit of shape. If I had to guess, this is a styrofoam ball, and the fact that the back of his head looks like a perfect ball. Oh my God! They have toothpicks holding everything up. Should probably hide the toothpick, not just have like toothpicks like sitting there. There are folds and creases in the fabric. It's not just like, you know, you could take the fondant and you could have just like they could have just wrapped it around so there was no folds and creases. They did try to like replicate some of that texture. So there's that, and there is shadowing and shading on the fabric itself. You can see like the highlights that they tried to put in. I think the person that did this really did try. They've got, the ears are not falling off. There's definitely some chunks here. I'm guessing this is where something was poking through that created a hole because they just patched it. So there's definitely some sloppy work. I think this cake was way beyond the person's skill set, but they tried really hard. But this just shows how hard it is to make an actual character with the facial features and everything. But still, for $350, like, you shouldn't take on a cake order that you wouldn't be able to do. So if this was beyond their skill set, they should have said that it was beyond their skill set. But at the same time, they did give me a 3-dimensional cake. They did, I mean, the ears are standing up, the arms are there, the fabric is like, everything does look similar to the picture. It's mainly the face that's letting them down. I think when you look at the cake as a whole, minus the toothpicks underneath, they did a pretty good job considering. And they didn't cover the cake board. For a $350 cake, I'm sorry, you should get, like, I have white cake drums that are only like $1 more than these flimsy things. It's a thin board and it's like silver, like, it's just a really cheap cake board. You can't give a cake like this on a cake board like that. So there's certain things like that that, like, they should have watched out for, but they did, like, look at the gold on, like, the cup. They did try. I feel like they put a lot of time and effort and they really tried with this. Can we see them side by side? Let's see them side by side. I just sent them to Liz. She thinks this one looks really spot on. And this one looks like it's still pretending that it can still take a shot of Jaeger. Like, it's like had too many at the bar. It's like, I'm not drunk. Also, she said that she would charge $600 if she had charged for this cake. So I think that's really interesting that at that level, you're expecting that sugar work and stuff. And that's where maybe this one is okay that they didn't do the sugar work because it came under that price point. But at the same time, like, not by like too much, but seeing them side by side, you can definitely see like the facial expression differences. So I feel like the biggest difference with these two is the face, but the color. This one's definitely too lime, and this one's definitely had too much to drink. Can we taste them now? Can I cut them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my God, I have to interrupt me tasting these cakes because, like, it's like 8 hours later, but only like 12, so like from when we finished filming the cakes, but it's only been like 12 hours since we picked up these cakes. It collapsed. I've been watching it all night and I saw it like slowly separate. I was like chilling on the couch. All of a sudden the head was gone. I was like, oh no. I don't care how much you pay for a cake, it should never collapse like that. Obviously, we've got some structural issues. I'm sorry for the really crappy lighting right now. But it's nighttime and we're about to go to bed and these cakes collapsed. I felt like we need to share that. But they didn't structure it. Like, you can see one dowel and these like little wires, and I can see toothpicks. You've got like random wires and toothpicks all over the place, which is just dangerous. His face has fallen and it's just like smushed onto his little cup. Oh my God, poor Grogu. But once we saw that, we started looking at this one and it's starting to fall too. The cup is starting to fall out of its hands. I don't know what it's gonna look like in the morning. But it's pulling away from the cake. Like, it feels like the hands and the cups are gonna be falling off come the morning. Oh, it's all like just falling apart, like his poor fingers. Yeah. Structure your cakes, people. Okay, let's go. Oh, well, let's cut back to me tasting them. I don't know how to cut this seamlessly. This is weird. These are cakes. After all of all the details and everything, what matters, kind of not the most, but like, it's definitely an important factor, is how the cake tastes. This was very hard to cut. I think just because like the shape of it and everything, I found it challenging. Okay, let's cut the other one. I ordered them both vanilla because I wanted to compare both of their vanilla cakes with vanilla icing and see how they compared. And one thing I can see for sure is that this one is a really soft buttercream. It looks almost like an American buttercream or whipped buttercream. And this one looks really stiff, almost like a Swiss or an Italian. That's a good cake. I'm thrown off a little bit because I feel like I'm tasting fake butter extract. Like, there's fake butter flavoring that has a very specific flavor. It's in the icing, which has that like artificial flavor, which I'm not loving. The cake itself is really good. It's not too sweet because the buttercream, I think, complements the cake. I find the cake a bit sweet, but because the icing isn't sweet, it complements it really nicely. For $530, like, you want an incredible cake, and I will say it's not incredible. It's a good cake, but I think it has like an artificial flavor to it. 1-star bakery.
Does it taste like a loaf of bread? Because that would make so much sense. They didn't make it with a loaf of bread.
It tastes very bread-like. I'm not kidding. The cake itself tastes very floury. It's lacking the butter and sweetness. It feels dry, kind of like a box cake mix meets bread. The icing, when you eat the icing by itself, it's not sweet. It's not an American. It tastes like a whipped icing. That's really interesting because it does kind of like came from a bread factory. It kind of does taste like bread like. That's kind of funny. All in all, I liked this cake better. This one was definitely, it tasted better. It tasted more like a cake. This one, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like I just think it's just lacking a lot of flavor and kind of.
This wasn't your loaf of bread?
It just wasn't my loaf of bread. This one, I feel like even though it had a kind of an artificial flavor, and I still feel like it should have been a better flavor than what it was, it still tastes like a good piece of cake. Like I think most people would be pretty happy with this one. I feel like this one wouldn't, like, people would like eat it, but maybe they'd only eat like half of their piece. They definitely won't be coming back from second. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on more of this comment. Don't miss out on more of this content. And let me know down below what kind of bakery review video I should do next. And thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The first 1,000 subscribers wanting to click the link down below will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership. And I will see you guys again next week.
Next week?
And then maybe a couple of weeks.